A Pleasant Morning by Streabbog is a wonderful little scale etude, and we're going to work on a couple different techniques here. We're going to talk about how to pass the thumb under smoothly so that your scale can continue without us hearing this moment of switching in the hand, how to use your wrists to play 2-note slurs so that you properly emphasize the first note and release on the second, and how to use your wrist and arm to play chords so that each note strikes evenly. To work on your thumb crossing under, we're going to take our hand on the cover of the keys and put your hand in a rounded position like you were playing. And you want to keep all your long fingers still. And we're just going to take the thumb and tap it to the side and to the inside. Outside, inside. And see how far you can move the thumb without having a significant movement of the hand. It's okay if it moves a teeny tiny bit. So this is just to demonstrate how far the thumb can go on the type of joint that it lives on. So it can fold under very nicely. We're going to take advantage of this while we play. Now when we go to play the scale, my hand and arm are going to be moving upwards, but I want you to watch how the thumb crosses under so that I don't need to do a lot of flopping to the side with my wrist and my elbow and my hand all moving. This is not necessary. So let's see how this looks. Overall, the motion is very still, and the thumb is doing this folding action. Now, from the side view, I want you to observe the wrist motion up and down. And you're going to see I try to keep very still. So here we go. Very little motion in the wrist. A common beginner attempt involves raising the wrist to give space to the thumb. But we have already learned that the thumb can fold under without needing the hand to move to accommodate it. So watch again. Practice this way and your scales will get smoother and you won't have that hitch where you hear the change in dynamics as your hand crosses the thumb under. For 2-note slurs, you want to have a down wrist on the first note and up on the second. So I'm pulling a chord out of this Pleasant Morning piece, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, measure 8. And first I sink down, and then for the second note, rise up. And you hear the first one is louder, and you get this loudness by having a nice heavy arm and sinking with your wrist and letting just the weight of your arm and hands pull you into the key bed. And then you float off. And see, the float is lighter, and this is how we get the louder, softer motion in these 2-note slurs. To play chords evenly, we want each finger to be strong and in shape. So you have your rounded fingers and you're not going to change the roundedness. Then when you go to play the chord, you are having motion more from the wrist and the arm while the fingers stay in position. So see, I can have my wrist go up and then my wrist pulls down to drop into the chord and my fingers just stay strong. So you want to think about the motion here coming from the wrist and slightly from the arm rather than from each individual finger. So it'd be much harder to try to get each finger with its different shape and strength to play evenly than to just lock them into one position in your hand and let the rest of your arm apparatus, your wrist and your arm, do the work.